So good to have you, Scott Erdmann. Thank you for joining me. And on behalf of the awards committee, congratulations again on being, first of all, recognized by the Oregon chapter in the player development space, and then obviously, being going forward to the section level and having the entire section awards committee recognize you for a player development award. Some of the other awards that you've won in the past, Scott, just remind you, you've won the assistant of the year at the section level. You've been the assistant player of the year. I think people know you as a player. But the cool part here is you're known as obviously as a teaching, coaching professional. You were the OGA professional of the year, which is really cool in 2011 when you qualified for the PGA championship. And also you qualified for the PGA Cup, which is pretty special. It's only one of 12 people annually who get to play in basically the PGA of America's Ryder Cup for golf club pros. So that's a pretty cool memory, I'm sure. What do you remember about that?
Wow, everything. I mean, it's still so, even though it was a long time ago, it's still extremely clear to this day. I think probably the thing that made it so special, obviously representing your country. Sorry, my dad's kind of moving around here, but I'll see if I can get it a little bit more fixed. Yeah, just everything representing your country. I think going to the PGA Cup, I didn't even know what it was. So everything was so new and awesome and amazing. But the fact that my wife got to experience it, which as golf professionals, we go to our tournaments, we go to these section tournaments, and we're gone, and
yeah.
Sometimes they're at home taking care of things. So the fact that she was able to come on that trip and, be gone for a week and, just get spoiled, and was off on shopping sprees and fancy dinners every night. And, just everything. It was just so incredible.
Who was your team captain at that point? Was it, who was the team captain? I can't remember, honestly.
Jim Remy.
You had to basically outperform a lot of PGA professionals in order to earn that spot. So it's pretty incredible. So I remember seeing you there at Cordoval, but then later, as I moved up to this section to work for the PGA of America in the player development space, I got to engage with you and go through the process when you were looking at saying, I want to move away from golf operations and I want to be a full-time teacher and coach. And I believe that was probably pretty much 2012, 13, kind of when you made that sort of discussion, or sort of in your mind, you made that decision. What are some of the things that when you look back 11 years ago, 10 years ago, like that you're just kind of amazed at what you've been able to accomplish at the same club, Oswego Lake Country Club, where you have had a long tenure? Just some of the things you're like starting out and then where you're at now that just kind of blow your mind.
Yeah. Gosh, I think it's always been clear to me. I always figured it could change at some point, but it was always kind of clear to me that, the head professional route was never something I really wanted to explore and do. I always wanted to be a teacher, but I think that's really hard to do in the past, as just, doing private lessons, and make an income and provide for your family, especially in the Pacific Northwest. When you look across the country, we don't charge the same hourly rates that a lot of places do. And obviously we have a shortened season, and what allowed me to kind of go down the route of player development was the fact that player development became a thing, and Operation 36 became a thing. And I remember when I heard about it first, I was playing a match play with Bob Turnquist. I can remember the hole that it was on that he was telling about it. And I'm going, wow, that just sounds amazing. And I wanted to hear more about it. So as soon as we were done, I went back and looked up Operation 36, and it was this, kind of new up and coming company, and they had this amazing platform. And, I was just so fortunate to work for Brent Murray, and that he allowed me to explore that and give it a shot. And, I started out with, I was ready to jump ship. Like, this is so cool. I'm ready. Like, let me go. full-time teacher right away. And he kind of, it was really nice of him just to say, well, why don't you just run it and, still be an assistant and let's just kind of see how this works, which was awesome for him to do that. And the sacrifices he had to make for me to be able to be gone every afternoon to run those programs, and started out with juniors and then ladies, and then off it went from there. And that was
what's your 2000 what?
I think it was 2017, I believe, was the first year I ran it, and then 2018 was when I was full-time.
I remember you calling me, and I'm in the same room here at the home office, and you called me, and you were telling me about how you'd signed up and you were going to be the first one in the section, and I had no idea what Operation 36 was, and I think you were shocked, like, how do you not know about this? Like, this is your job, Monty. And it's just a different, it was a new idea. And the cool part is that Operation 36 is 2 PGA professionals in the sort of Carolinas, and I think that's how Maggie found out about it. That's where she came from originally, and classic Bob Turnquist, he literally recruited her, like I'm going to get you to come out here, do whatever it takes to get you to come out here. And so I remember, you were the second, which clearly you're a competitive guy, so you were kind of like annoyed by it, but you were the first in Oregon, and certainly the first in the section to do it at a private club, and that is a fact. So I'm certainly at a club like Oswego Lake, which is a premier premium club. One of the things that I think is really cool is I got to assume that Oswego Lake's membership has actually somewhat transformed from being maybe an older club with a higher average age to where it's gotten younger, partly because you're attracting families. Now you're you're an amenity. What you provide is an amenity, certainly, to that club. Is that accurate?
It certainly has changed. Yeah. So I started in 2005, and it was definitely kind of a older club. Wasn't a lot of kids. I think a lot of clubs kind of in the Portland area kind of changed with that kind of junior membership and allowed a lot of young families to come in. And I'd like to say that I had a lot to do with it, and I don't think I did. I think it was more like the timing was just awesome for me, in the sense that, when those junior memberships kind of came about and we had a lot of young families there, it was great for me. And we're very much we have kind of 2 identities, I would say, maybe 3. We're like a neighborhood family social club. So everybody lives close by. So it's kind of the epicenter of fun for so many families in like Oswego. But we're also like a players club. We had back-to-back years of the team championship where, you send your top 5 players, and we had 2 teams. And I always said our the B team could easily, beat the A team. We have 16, 17 plus handicaps at our club.
Yeah.
So there's lots of identities, I suppose, to the club. But it worked out great for me in the sense that there were so many young families, and I'd like to think I play a big part in retention, or just adding value to those members, that they have programs that that we have something to offer everybody in the club now.
So in your write up, I see that you've got this scoring method program. I would love to hear more about that. Can you kind of give me like a 3,000 foot level, and then maybe something a little bit, that somebody may just, scoring method. Oh, that must be something like decade. Doesn't sound like it. So tell me.
Yeah.
Tell me more.
So I think it was a big part of trying to offer. It started by trying to offer more than what I was offering. Right. I was doing junior academy and ladies academy, and certainly kind of catering to a certain segment of our membership, but we had plenty of people that weren't having their needs met other than private lessons. And scoring method is another platform. Will Robbins, amazing guy, as I believe you know him fairly well.
Very well.
Northern California, and he created this program. RGX Golf is the name of his company, and scoring method is one of the platforms within the company. And now I believe he's very much involved with the PGA and PGA coach.
He's basically PGA modern coach, the second part of PGA coach. Yes.
Yeah. So I would encourage everybody to explore what he has to say, because in my opinion, especially now after doing this for a few years of doing scoring method, it has validated my opinion that I think the lesson model 1 hour on the driving range is just, it's broken. You know, we shouldn't even really, I call myself a teacher, but you know, you should be a coach. You shouldn't be a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
I shouldn't say you shouldn't be a teacher, but you know, when you look at other sports and how we learn things, and how golf is taught in this static environment on a driving range with the
And
same,
kind of transactional versus a relational.
yeah. And then it's like they get thrown out in the golf course, and now they got to, you know, uneven lie, and you know, and
Side hills, downhills, which is all about
yeah,
Oswego.
and it's just all, yeah, it's all technique, right? It's always
Yeah.
about technique. And what sport do we play where you exist in this technical state of mind? Where are you playing football or shooting a basketball and you're thinking about where your wrist and your elbow is? And it's not to say those things aren't important and you address them. But you know, I think you do your students a lot more justice by being a coach.
Yeah.
And scoring method is basically a guarantee that if you have a long enough term commitment from your student, that you will guarantee results, and you will guarantee them not necessarily by changing, or in fact, you can even guarantee that I will not change your golf swing. I will guarantee to make you a better golfer without changing your golf swing. But certainly when you're with a student on the golf course, you have a much better opportunity to kind of assess what things really need to be changed. So scoring method is kind of tweaked, I suppose, for every golf professional. And the way I do it, it's a 3-month sign up. And then we alternate weeks between 1 week we play on the golf course. We play in a foursome. So you play with your 4 friends or whoever it is that you sign up with. So you play 9 holes 1 week. After you're done, there are certain statistics, you know, it's a score, getting into a scoring zone and down in a scoring zone. It's maybe a little longer conversation, but it's an attainable and it's a flexible statistic, as opposed to, like, you know, a green in regulation, which, you know, not many people hit. They need something to kind of concentrate on as they play. So that's getting into the scoring zone and down in the scoring zone. And as I said, you kind of like, you make that fit each student so that they can reach that. But then whether or not they're attaining it, so they get a check if they attain it, they get an X if they don't. That X becomes their feedback. That feedback then translates into a purposeful practice session. So really, scoring method at its core is teaching people how to break down a golf course, but then also how to practice purposefully, instead of just going down and, you know, dumping out 100 golf balls and hitting, you know, 107 irons from a flat line, which you're never going to, you know, come across when you go play. You're going to set up, you know, coaching sessions for them, challenging sessions that are going to resemble what their play looks like. And if they don't achieve that challenge that you set forth for that student of yours, they start over. So you're getting them to practice with pressure, because there's pressure on the golf.
Sure.
I think every single teacher that has taught this game has heard from their students that, God, I was hitting it great on the driving range, and then I went to the tee and then I sucked.
Yeah, leading money winner on the range tour. Well, we're no play golf on the range.
There's no tension. There's no tension on the range. You know, that's easy. And all of a sudden now you go up there and you're on the first tee.
You don't have to go find that ball you hit on the range. Somebody else does that.
People are watching you now, and now you're keeping score. So, you know, we try to practice with our students, right? So they're practicing. So there's some pressure. People are watching you. But then we set out, you know, goals for them to achieve. And if they don't achieve it, then they start over. You know, simple goals, like trying to chain something out of 5. You know, you make 5 out of 5 putts from 3 feet. That would be a simple goal. And there's a million different scenarios that we could go through based upon that feedback we get from the golf course. But if you didn't make 5 putts from 3 feet in a circle, each spot from a different, each time you hit a putt from a different spot, you start over. So that would be a real quick, simple explanation, I suppose, of what the scoring method is.
I also think that the thing too that you're hitting on with the scoring method, I love when you were talking about the with their 4 friends or 3 friends and them, and then you're obviously a coach and a friend, and you have a relationship with them. It's a social interaction. It's not just a learning interaction. It's actually there's that friendly competition. I didn't get the chance. I wasn't good enough to play college golf, but I always talk to my son who played college golf and others who played college golf, and they say that some of the best sort of development time was those team practices where they were out busting each other's chops, and the social interaction made practice it's like I got better and I didn't really think I was at practice. It was just more of a hangout, but we were playing golf, doing something we all loved. And that's really how, like Keating says, that's how I got better. Benzel, that's how I got better. All those different things. Eichley says that. So is that something that, in some ways you're creating sort of a reason to come to the club?
Yeah.
Just as much as going to the 19th hole.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe.
And you offer a student, they don't even think about it, right? And it's our fault that we tend to think that like what we should offer is, a driving range lesson. But if you offer them like, hey, how about we go out on the golf course? What if I go watch you play? Would you like to do that? They're all going to say yes.
Yeah.
You can discover so much more about them, what they're doing, their decision making, why they think the way they think. Those opportunities certainly show up.
So what are some of the things that you're looking forward to in the near future? Besides being able to play golf again.
Walking and sleeping, those are the two things I look forward to the most, because they're pretty darn hard right now. Certainly getting back to golf. Getting back to work. It's been rough, being in bed for almost 6 weeks. But you kind of touched on it a little bit with Ross and Derek. I'm really excited about what we have the potential to develop in our company, and helping other people have the same experiences that we've had. Going back to 2017 when I became the director of instruction, or director of player development, that was a new thing, player development. There wasn't many platforms. Now we have these platforms where, listening to your mentors, right? And there are these great things. You don't need to come up with some new amazing, thing for your club to adopt. We have proven methods. And sometimes that message doesn't get out, and it doesn't, it's grown immensely, right? There's so many now directors of player development, awesome teachers that just needed the same thing that I needed, just a path, something that I could follow, some mentors to follow. But there's still a lot of people that don't have it, and there's a lot of clubs that need player development, and maybe they need it and they don't have a dedicated person. And that's kind of where a club can still have great player development person without a dedicated person.
Sure.
They just don't have maybe the time to make it as good as it should be. And that's where Derek, Ross, and myself would come in and kind of help that facility out.
Yeah.
So, creating more opportunities for golf professionals, to have a great program to offer their membership or their clientele, and then also an extra revenue source for that person at the facility that also retains instructors too, to develop them, right? So we're not going to just create programs for them and be out of the way. We're going to kind of hold their hand and make sure that they understand how to do things properly and make sure they have success. So it's we've kind of changed the thought from it's like player development to professional development.
What facilities are you sort of happy that you can sort of proudly say you're partnering with? I know a couple of them, but can you tell me who they are?
Yeah, so we wanted to partner with the right facilities, right? Places that we felt like they'd be great partners and they could benefit from our help. And the two facilities that we've started with are Willamette Valley and Astoria.
Yeah.
So we're a little slowed up right now. John just had a baby, so we're kind of put the on Willamette, but we're going to get started here shortly. But Astoria is off and rolling, and just started out their first semester. Had 32 people that are coming in a week, juniors and ladies. So it's fantastic to start with them, and then we just plan on growing, and our growth won't be so much directly coming from us. It'll be going out and finding what we're kind of labeling right now as ambassadors, people that do what we do across the country, and trying to expand our catch, if you will. How many people we could work with. We can't work with 100 different facilities and then also do our jobs at our facilities.
Yeah.
But there's an opportunity to, seek out people in different regions across the country or even in the Pacific Northwest that we're actually talking to right now. I won't name those names quite just yet.
Oh, yeah, fine. Yeah. And
and they're going to go out and find facilities, and then they're going to mentor them.
Yeah.
We'll be kind of the back end stuff of doing all the marketing and whatnot. But
yeah. So and then I know for a couple of years, you were really getting after the business to the point where you were really working hard, and maybe you didn't play as much, and because you were really serious about building your business. But in the long run, has this given you a chance to be more present with your wife, with your children, and it's been a good move for your career?
It's been amazing when it comes to that. A lot of that's due in part, I should say, to bringing on a staff member. So I have somebody that coaches for me full time, Sarah Archuleta, where it was hard to run 3 programs. Especially you couldn't do junior academy and scoring method at the same time.
No.
And we have another program called Birdie Basics, which is working with Pee Wee golfers, kind of 3 to 6 or other platform. And certainly something I knew would be great, but I didn't want to teach it, and I didn't want to work with 3 and 6 year olds. So brought her in, she crushed it. That led to her kind of like working a little bit with me on the junior academy, and then that led to her taking over the junior academy.
Nice.
Ladies academy stuff now, so she's super busy. So our programs have grown so much that there's opportunity for 2 of us.
Sure.
There in these programs, but then that's also allowed me to be, have some sanity.
Yeah.
But yeah, we don't teach on Sundays and Mondays, and that's great for obviously for golf. I can play in section tournaments, and I've got a coach that can step up and kind of coach when I'm gone, or the other assistants are at my facility, and then things kind of shut down in the wintertime, and that's great. Things are busy enough in the summer where we almost intentionally don't try to coach that much in the wintertime and kind of recharge, because the summers are a grind. If you're coaching 8 hours a day and you're on your feet and engaged, pretty tired. So
yeah, actually you bring up a great point, because I mean, you think about somebody as a full-time coach, that person that you're working with at hour 8 of the day, they deserve the same amount of energy as hour 1 got.
100%. Yeah.
And they expect it because they're paying for it.
Yep.
Yep. So that's a great point. And
that traveling, right? So then that led to, we've talked about this, Australia and Ireland, going to England, when you have, these off-season months, you can kind of do some other, fun things, and kind of create some opportunities for your members and just add more value to the club, which obviously adds more value to you as a golf professional. So that's been a lot of fun, and I want to do more of that.
Of course. I can imagine. I mean, it sounds amazing.
Why wouldn't you, right?
Like basically you're like a inspirational story of, hey, here's a way you can love the job you have, but also be able to chase the dream of being the best player you can be at the same time. It's a great example. So again, I thank you for what you do. Congratulations again on being the 2022 Player Development Award winner for the Pacific Northwest PGA. And I'm sorry that you won't be able to accept it in person, but I'm sure that it's just as meaningful to you as if you had been there. And any final comments you want to say, or anything you want to say, anybody you want to sort of say thank you to?
Wow. I mean, there's just a million people, right? That say thank you to. I wouldn't know where to start. I mean, certainly Sarah, where a lot of people don't know who she is. She's going to get involved with the PGA. We're going to get her,
Awesome.
her education. But yeah, she's been allowed me to kind of, introduce that scoring method of the club. Certainly Oswego Lake.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've spent 18 years now at Oswego Lake, and I hope I can double that, go another 18 more. And it's just been an amazing club. And yeah, they're not members, they're friends. So it's pretty cool to go to work when you're working with your friends every day.
Yeah. Congratulations again on your Player Development Award for 2022, Scott. And Thanks a lot. I'm going to stop
Thank you.
recording.
Appreciate it.